What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This is Coach Stokes, Stokeshouse Boxing Academy. Stay ready so you ain't got to worry about getting ready, and we definitely staying ready with today's very special guest. How do I go ahead and introduce her? Well, the best way I can say is, this is my mama. This is my mama. And when I say my mother, not biological, but she is the person who raised me, kept me off the streets of Rochester, New York, was there. If it wasn't for this woman, I would have not graduated high school. So she deserves part of my high school diploma. Let me go ahead and tell you who she is. She's the first female to ever coach men and women in the Olympics for the United States Olympic boxing team. She's won numerous amount of awards. She's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame. About to be inducted into the Rochester Boxing Hall of Fame. Soon she will be in the United States Olympic Boxing Hall of Fame. I definitely know that. She's done so many countless things. She's trained so many national champions, international champions, world champions. Miss Gloria A. Peek. Miss Gloria A. Thornton-Peek. What's up, Coach?
Hey, baby, what's up? It's always a pleasure to talk to you and Lanisha, the family. Miss you guys. You're too far away.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Coach, let everybody know who's Gloria Peek. Betty, how'd you start? How'd you get into it, Coach?
Wow. I got into this game when I was probably somewhere around 8 or 9 years old. I used to watch the old Gillette Friday Night at the Fights. That's when they used to show the best fighters, and it was free. It was on television. And I used to watch it with my father because he couldn't get his sons, my brothers, to watch it with him. They were into their own thing. Mm-hmm. And I was daddy's little girl. 9 times out of 10, being daddy's little girl, you down for anything. That's how I learned to change spark plugs on cars and all of that, because I hung out with my dad and his buddies, in the parking lot fixing the old Dodge. But anyway, I started watching the fights with him. And I remember the fighters reminded me of gladiators. They were sculptured like gladiators, but they moved like dancers. Mm. They were very artistic, very smooth, very rhythmic in their movement. The only thing that separated them from really being a dancer was the artistic outcome, which one was combative and one was obviously just an artistic form, and that was the dance. But anyway, I just I loved watching the fights with him. I look forward to it every Friday, and I just was in awe at what they could do and how they could do it. And that started my love for the game. I knew then that that boxing somehow was going to be a part of my life forever. And if we fast forward a little bit, as I got older and stuff, I tried to find ways to learn about being that gladiator, being that boxer. So I went on to the military. I joined the Navy, and that's where I really got my first taste. I ran into the old salty dogs, and that's what they used to call them back in the day, salty dogs. Yeah. And ran into a few guys that thought it was cute that a woman wanted to learn to box, because I would go to the gym, I would try to hit the bag. I did the best I could from what I observed. I really didn't have a teacher at that time. And I would hit the bag and they would laugh and everything like that. But one day, happened to be in there, and I was a little angry at a few things that were going on, and I came in and I hit the bag with such force that it knocked it off the and knocked it right off the hinge. It hit the floor. Everybody stopped, turned around, and looked at me. It was like that E.F. Hutton type of
Yeah.
E.F. Hutton.
Yeah.
You speak, everybody stopped.
Yeah.
So they all stopped. They looked. Damn, she's serious. Maybe maybe it might be worth our while to show her a couple of things.
Right.
And that sort of began a little bit of my formal training into the world of boxing.
Wow.
But it wasn't until I got back to Rochester and became the assistant executive director of the Boys and Girls Club that I knew I had to get some more formal training, because I wanted boxing to be a part of my program. I not only saw boxing for the sport that it was, but I also saw it for the potential it had. The potential it had to grab young people, young men, and bring them into the fold, bring them into a cohesive group. And it was a way for me to reach them, to help, turn their lives and stuff around. And so I knew then that I had to find a way to get more involved and more training in boxing. And that's when I wound up joining a club, St. Martin's Boxing Club. You might remember them.
Shout out to St. Martin's. Ain't no hate over here. Shout out.
So as the assistant executive director, I found St. Martin's Club. And so I would use my lunch break to run over there. And I remember Robert and them, I came in the first day and I said, I'm here to get some boxing lessons. And I need to learn the game of boxing. And they said, women aren't allowed to box. I said, no. I said, women are allowed to do anything they want to do. And yes, I can box. And I'm not talking about competition and stuff. I'm talking about learning the sport. And they said, well, we never really train women, da, 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 da. I said, listen, I just need somebody to show me the game, okay, to teach me the correct way. And I explained to him that I wanted it for the Boys and Girls Club. But they still thought it was a joke. Mm-hmm. But they decided they were gonna find a way to run me out to sort of change my mind.
Right.
And so what they did was they said, oh, okay, we're gonna help you out, coach. We'll give you, come on over on lunch break and stuff. We'll give you some lessons and, show you just how the game is run. So unbeknownst to me, I'm thinking, oh, well, this is nice. The guys saw the light, they're gonna help me out. So I was going over there every day. In about 2 weeks, they said to me, so listen, we feel you ready for your first sparring session. I said, what? They said, yeah, you're ready. You're ready for your first sparring session. So what they did was they decided that they would have one of their more experienced guys, tap me up, beat the brakes off of me, send me home, or send me out of there crying. And so I said, okay, I don't have a mouthpiece or anything. And that's when I got that first experience of that rubber mouthpiece that they kept in the pot.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So I probably picked up all kinds of diseases and everything from that. And the only thing that saved me was I had all my shots and I had a good immune system because they grabbed it out the pot, shoved it in my mouth.
Right in the mouth.
Right in the mouth. They gave me the whole smelly headgear and stuff, and I just my skin was crawling. But I said, okay, they feel I'm ready. I'm gonna go out here and do this.
Right.
So I go in. Now the guy that they had me boxing against, I believe his last name was Watts. Watts. He was young. He was a lefty.
Okay.
And he was ranked, but I didn't know that, and I didn't know what a lefty was. Mm-hmm. So We got in the ring, they ring the bell, and I got punched square in the face. Bam! Like, oh man, that hurt, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I stopped for a second. They said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm fine. Let's go." So I go back out there. I'm throwing all kind of punches. I can't hit him, and I can't figure out why these punches are coming at me different directions than when I was working on the bag or on the mitts. It just didn't seem right.
Right.
And I didn't know it's a lefty, and so it's like looking in the mirror. It's coming at you from the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, by the time I ran back to work to a meeting that I had that day. My right eye was kind of closing. Okay, my lip was 3 times its size because I had a cut lip. I've been bleeding out of the nose. The boy beat the brakes off of me. I'm telling you, I went down. I don't know how many times. They thought that I was going to stay down. They just didn't know my particular mentality and stuff. Exactly. I don't stay down. You knock me down, I'm gonna get back up. So I kept getting back up. And so the coach said, "Well, listen, coach, we think maybe, you should pull back a little bit and not, not finish." And I said, "No, we gonna finish this." And then finally they said, "Oh, you know what? It's time for you to get back. Your lunch break is over." Meanwhile, I'm already beat up.
Right.
I go back to work. I go into my meeting. I definitely look like one of them women who have been abused and spousal abuse, beat the crap out of them. They should be in the hospital somewhere.
Because you were left fine, but when you came back, you look like you got into some right.
Seriously. Now, did anybody in the meeting say to me or pull me aside and say, "Hey, coach, you all right? Did you have a problem? What happened?"
Right.
No, they pretended like they didn't even see my closed eye, my fat lip, or nothing like that. Nobody responded. So I went on, finished my meeting. Long story short, next day, I show back up at St. Martin's. They're in there playing backgammon and stuff, and they were shocked. They were like, "Coach, what are you doing here?" I said, "I'm here to get the rest of my lessons and stuff. And then I want the sparring session that I had the other day with your guy, because we got some unfinished business." And they looked at me and they were like, "This woman is crazy. This woman is crazy." And I told them, I said, "When I finish these lessons, I said, you and I gonna rumble again, and we gonna rumble until I beat the brakes off of you. I don't care who you are." And, I just kept coming, working and everything. And then the next day, or the next time I sparred him, he didn't get the best of me. One, because I understood one thing clearly off the bat. The key to boxing is defense. Hit and don't get hit.
Yes.
I learned that very, very early. So I became proficient in defense. Okay. One, I knew he was stronger than me. He was bigger than me. There was no way that I was going to match his power with my power. I said, okay, but there's other ways to beat you. And by becoming proficient with defense and him not being able to hit me, I realized that I could get him tired. And when I got him tired, he was like a sitting duck.
Right.
I was hit with everything. I looked like I was the pro. And they were like, mouths were on the floor. They were like, "Oh my gosh,
I know
this woman is different. This woman is something that we've never seen before, in women." And so I got their respect. They took me more seriously. They gave me more good training. And from there, I joined it's now USA boxing organization, but back then it was AAU boxing. And I began to get all the academic and technical information and skills and stuff like that. And then I eventually started my own club. in Rochester. That's where I started. My first club was in Rochester, New York. And at that time, there were no women anywhere in the country running their own boxing program. You might have seen a female here or there helping her husband,
Right.
but there was no woman running a boxing program of their own in the country. I was it, and I started with the Montgomery Boxing Club, and went from there. It's pretty much history.
It is. It
So
is. It is. Go ahead, Coach.
I've been in the game. I've been in the game now for 40 years.
Mm.
Okay, and I'm still in the game, even though I'm retired. I shouldn't even say the word retired because there's no such thing for me. I called it retired, and officially I retired, but I got drugged right back into it.
You know what they say? You know what they say when you retire? All that means you go on and get another job. But your job was always going back to boxing in some type of form or facet. I mean, whether it was coaching, working behind the scenes. I mean, you always, and it's not you, it's always people always coming back and saying, Gloria, can we get you to do this? Can you come out of retirement? And that's what it is. I mean, it's just, we are junkies, Coach.
Oh yeah,
We junkies, boxing junkies.
it's in our blood. It's very hard to leave it unless you didn't get into it for the right reasons. Okay, yeah. There are some important aspects to coaching and being a good coach. One of the things that people say, well, why do you do it, and why do you continue to do this? With your aging and the different ailments and stuff that you have, and one of the things I tell them is that I learned a long time ago that this was my gift. Okay, we all come into this world and we have gifts that God gives us to fulfill, to do, and boxing was mine. For some reason, not only it wasn't just my boxing skills that has driven me this long in this sport, but it was a matter that my ability to connect with people,
Right.
to get people to allow me to come into their lives and help them to go on and strive and become something special, to actually, actually learn what their gifts are, what their purpose is, and help them to not only see that, establish that, but grow with that. So that's one of the key aspects. The other thing is that being a coach, and it's important for coaches to have, is passion. You've got to have not only passion for the sport and love for the sport, but passion for the young people you're working with. Yes. And that keeps driving us back too. That keeps me coming back, is my love and passion for the sport and the young people whose lives I touch with that sport. So I can't get away from it.
Yeah, you know what? Because, man, I've known you since I was 13, 14.
Yeah.
And you was rough. You was really, really rough coming up. But I appreciate it because that's how I train my athletes. One thing I see with a lot of athletes today, it's all about the athlete, and nothing wrong with that. It's always been about the athlete because the coach is the one that's in the shadows. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to make them look good. We supposed to build
Right.
them up. But athletes today is like they take the word over the coach, or I'm not doing that. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Can you explain today's society versus how it was when we were coming up, coach, when it comes to coaching and how it's changed?
Yeah, the kids today believe that they're entitled. You know, they're entitled to be given, you know, whatever they want. So their whole thought is my wants are to be met. You know, not anybody else's. I really don't care. You know, they believe that they should get the things that they want right then and there. So it's immediate gratification. So they feel entitled. They have this thing about immediate gratification, and they don't respect. They don't respect not even their own parents, people around them, adults. They, for some reason, they think they know everything. Now, I don't know if it's because of the explosion of social media or whatever, but I do believe that plays a negative role in some respect. But you know, they just really do not see themselves as having to listen or heed what anybody says. They think they know, you know, everything. And like when you guys came along, you know, when it was what I call back in the day, that's it. You guys still had respect for adults. You knew that, you know, if an adult told you something that, you know, whether you really liked them or not, you had to give that respect and listen, you know, to some degree. And your passion was different then. You wanted to learn. You didn't come in there thinking you knew everything. You wanted to learn. The only thing you guys cared about is whether or not the person who was saying they were going to teach you knew anything or knew more than you did. And if they did, then you would give them all the respect in the world. I never had any problem with, if I told you guys, okay, we're on a track, and I say, I want you guys to run, okay? And I'll tell you when to stop. And you guys would say, okay. And you would take off and go running. And you keep running until I told you to stop. Today's kids, I said, listen, I want you to run. And they'll say, how long? I said, just run until I tell you to stop. What do you mean? What do you mean run until you tell us to stop? Why would I run until you tell me to stop? Right. You know, how come it's got to be, man? they're a whole different breed today. You know, they want to question everything.
Yes.
They don't always want to listen, you know, and if you get a coach coming in who really isn't confident in themselves and really don't know, they get run over by the athletes. The athletes control them. Okay? They don't get that good coaching and stuff because you got an athlete, you got a coach who's not sure, who
right.
doesn't know. So people say to me, well, if the kids are so different, how are you dealing with the kids today? I said, because I believe in the old-fashioned way. I said, when you come into my gym, I tell you quick, gentlemen, this is a dictatorship, and I'm the dictator. Dictatorship means, in case you don't know, one person's in charge, one person's going to tell you what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And the only thing you're going to do is do what I tell you to do. You're going to respond to that by doing.
Yes, you will.
Not questioning. Now, gentlemen, if you do question me, it will cost you and your brothers. So if you come in and you say, well, how many push-ups we got to do? I might have only been thinking 25. Now I'm up to 50. Okay? So very quickly, they learn, or the other ones in there that are capable of learning will tell the other one, look, don't say anything, man. Don't ask coach any questions. Do what she tell you to do. Because if not, then I'm going to suffer. And if I have to suffer, it's going to cost you. So
yeah, we used to do it all the time, for real. And it's so real. People out there, I'm talking to you, brothers will start diming each other out after a while because they do not want to be in the bag races of Coach Peek. It was like that. Coach, let me ask you this. This is a question that I ask everybody. It's a three-part question. Okay, you ready for it?
I'm ready.
If you could design the perfect boxer and take three qualities, which were, who's your favorite fighter offensively, who is your favorite fighter defensively, and who is your favorite all-time fighter when it comes to ring generalship? Them having smarts, intelligence within the ring. Who would that be to design the perfect boxer? So let's start first. Who is your favorite all-time fighter when it comes to offense? And why? And why?
To offense?
Yes.
Wow.
Did I get you?
Boy, there's so many. Offense. Let's start with defense for a minute.
Okay.
So defense, I would say Sweepy Whitaker. Sweepy's defense, listen. I use him a lot. I say, listen, if you can, if you want to be able to sit in the pocket at times, if you had to sit in the pocket, I want you to be able to either miss, 90 to 95% of the punches being thrown. You're going to miss it, you're going to slip it, you're going to step around, you're going to, whatever. You need to be able to look like Sweepy, okay? Sweepy had that smooth slip, step around, frustrate you, tire you out, and leave you hanging there, for him to just destroy, dead weight, because you can't pick your arms up anymore because you've been throwing 50 punches at him and you haven't hit him yet. Okay.
Right.
So defense, Sweepy was just, he was smooth.
And he looked so pretty doing it too, Coach.
Real pretty doing it. Real pretty. Yes. And then he would step around and beat the brakes off of you. Now, that would remind me sometimes of Randall. Remember, Randall could do that.
Shout out to my man, Randall Stevens.
Yes. Randall was like, and he was 6'4" almost. And he was tall, so hard to hit. I mean, hard to hit. You think that, at least the body, you'd be able to hit it, but that boy had the moves and stuff that reminded me somewhat of Sweepy. You weren't gonna hit him. Man, you weren't gonna hit him.
That's I get that. Like I get a lot. People say Sweet Pea, of course, Floyd, James Toney here and there, but Sweet Pea is definitely somebody where you say defense, and you think about, man, he's definitely going to be in the top three without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Okay, so then
ring generalship, guys, because I'm gonna let you keep pondering on offense, but ring generalship. Who would you say that your all-time favorite when it comes to being intelligent, being smart, being sound within the ring?
I would say I like Andre Ward. I like Andre Ward.
It's my boy, man. He out here on the West Coast. Big ups to Oakland.
Yeah.
To the town.
Yeah, I like Andre. I worked with him when he won his gold in the. I didn't go to the Olympics. I worked at the training camp with him. I think it was what was it, 2004?
Yes, it was 4.
Yeah, 2004, and so for a whole month, I knew him before then. Him and his coach, I had known him for years, and so I've seen Andre from the time he was young come up the line and everything like that, and I would get to work with him here and there when I went on international trips, and he'd be on the team that we would be coaching for these international trips. But it wasn't until I worked with him at the 2004 Olympic Training Center when he was getting ready to go get his gold and stuff. And it was just, it was magnificent what he could do in the ring, how he was able to, which is difficult. You want to be able to teach your athlete or get your athlete to the point where they can actually see what's coming, kind of be able to read their opponent and be able to read them to the point where they can almost anticipate which combination or what you're going to throw or what you're going to do. And then their mind is working so fast that they either cut that off or stop it or use it to their advantage. You know, and that's not something that you can teach that well. It's something that a good coach strives to do.
Yes.
And if you're working with a kid that's a little athletic and hardworking, learning, doesn't have to be gifted, but has that work ethic, willing to keep working until they get it and they understand it and they absorb it. And Andre Ward was definitely like that.
So coach, is good to say that an athlete can't just get in there and do what he wants to do. He has to be teachable. He has to listen, and that's a quality that I hear me being a coach, because being a coach is totally different from being a fighter. I tell you that right now. And that's why a lot of athletes that were great athletes, then they always don't become great coaches because they can't separate the two lines between. Just because you was a gold medalist don't mean that you're going to be a gold medalist coming over here into this arena and teaching people. So what I wanted to say to you was, it's very important to know if that athlete can listen and go ahead and execute. Is it not? Is that part of the ring generalship in itself?
That's definitely part of it. That's key. I mean, when that athlete comes back to the corner, they've got to be able to hear what you're saying and then interpret it and take it and go back out there and execute. Okay. And, you know, if they can't do that,
yes,
they're going to have a hard time making it. Moving up the ladder is going to be real tough, almost impossible, because they've got to be able to listen, you know, in order to learn and build on their skills and ability. And like, if an athlete tells you that they already know it all, they're a loss. You know, they're done. They're not going anywhere. So there's no use of you continuing to waste your time, because in this game, you know, you've got to be open to learning 24/7. You've got to be, the coach has to be open to learning.
Yes. Okay.
As well as the athlete has to be open to learning. Okay. I learn from everybody I come in contact with. I continue to learn from my athletes. I've been in the game 40 years and I'm still learning. So when I hear a coach tell me, oh, I know this, I know that, I know all of this, I'm like, man.
Right. Because there are a lot of jaded coaches out there that feel like, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to teach this certain way, this certain style. And that's one thing I appreciated about you, Coach. Even though you showed this defensive, it was like, you're going to be on my team, you're going to learn defense, because you're not going to go out there, you're not going to get yourself injured. You're not going to get yourself hurt. You always, it's all about safety first. You got a lot of coaches that say, you know what, I'm going to train these fighters this way, and that's just the way it's going to be. That's the way I fought, so that's the way I'm going to teach them. But you never forced that upon any of the athletes. It was like, okay, you took what you had and you sculpted from there. It's a lot of jaded trainers out there that just want to do the things that they want to do, and they can. But I guess I'm going into this. How can you find the right boxing coach? If you are a parent, or if you want, you know, if your son or daughter wants to box, how should you go about finding the right coach?
Okay, a parent needs to research. They need to find out about that coach. How long have they coached? Mm-hmm. Where have they coached? What type of athletes have they, developed? you know, they need to go to their gym and just sit, watch, and observe. They need to ask that coach questions, because the coach being able to answer or not answer or refusing to answer is going to tell them a lot about what they're about to get into. Okay. They've got, you know, they need to take the time to research all of that if they want to assure that their child is going into a healthy and safe environment. And it doesn't take long to find out whether or not, you know, that coach knows anything, you know, or where that coach loyalty lies, or what do they really care about. They also need to want to find a coach that shows that compassion. You know, they gotta have compassion. They've got to be passionate about the sport. Yes. And you know, are knowledgeable. So it's real important that the parents, you know, really research. I mean, you know, from top to bottom, the coaches, because we both know there's a lot of them out there that talk a good game. Some of them have never boxed, nor have they ever been around boxing, but they'll go on YouTube. I can't tell you how many YouTube coaches there are out there. They go on YouTube. And
getting everybody hurt. Getting everybody hurt.
Everybody hurt. Everybody beat up. Everybody. I can't tell you the number of boxers that have come to my gym, and I'll ask them. I'll say, "Hey, babe, can you shadow box for me for a couple of minutes?" And they'll look at me. They'll say, "Shadow box? What's that?" I say, "Babe, quit playing with me. I need you to shadow box." I don't know what that is. I'm like, how long have you been boxing? Oh, I've been over here at this gym for 2 years now. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, or they can't throw a jab. They don't know how to stay in their stance. It's terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
It's terrible. I get kids from other gyms who've been boxing for 5 years. I have to start them back on the beginner level, right back to the beginner stage.
Because their technique and skill is not there.
No, because they haven't been taught. They haven't been taught by anybody who has the technique and skills. And the problem is, you know, a lot of coaches are not open to learning. They don't want to learn. I mean, to them, it's ego. And so they don't want anybody to know that they don't know. So they rather put on a front, you know, and pretend and get hostile when you try to ask them anything, because they just don't know. And they don't want anybody to know they don't know.
That's it. That is it right there. They don't want anybody to know that they don't know.
Right.
Coach, I kind of got off on a tangent, but I want to know, who is your favorite fighter when it comes to being offensive? All right, you know what? I'm gonna do this just for you, Coach, because I love you. You can give me three people.
Okay, offense. All right. Mayweather's offense. Okay. I like Mayweather's offense. Muhammad Ali was one of my favorites. Sugar Ray Robinson.
Man.
I mean, that's hard when you're asking somebody with my years, and I could go down the line on some guys.
Man, when you said the great Sugar Ray Robinson, that's like speaking for everybody in the boxing community, because everybody took from him. Everybody.
Yes.
In my opinion, he's the greatest fighter ever.
Yes. He was something special, babe.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. That is, everybody you name, Coach, is phenomenal, and those are people that made this sport what it is today, and why it's keep going, and it's going to continue to keep going. We just need to We just need to keep following that diagram of what they did and what they're doing, because those guys are. You said Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, and Sugar Ray Robinson
Yeah.
made a profound impact upon the sport of boxing.
Right. And that's why when I have people ask me sometimes now, they say, well, don't you think boxing's gonna die out? I said, man, boxing has been here since the beginning of time. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
You know, like any other sports, we've had our ups and downs.
Yes.
You know, but you know, it's a true gladiator sport.
Yes,
You know, it's you know, I you know, I love it, and I'm fortunate to have broken into it. You know, people will ask me like, you know, how did you possibly get into, you know, to boxing? You're a woman. I said, yeah. I said, isn't it great? I said, I broke into what I call the last great domain of men. The last great domain. I broke into it.
Man.
Okay, so women have broken into all sorts of things, you know, being football officials and coaches and all that. But there was one domain that was left that had not been broken into by women, and I did it. You know,
and you have to be, even still today, you know, they look at, I mean, women have come so far in the sport of boxing, but still, there's still this question. If you walk into, for example, we was in Philadelphia earlier this year, and we went to, I'm talking to my listeners, we went to, you know, my son Diesel, he loves the sport of boxing. So we went to go to Philadelphia, but we stayed with Coach Peek. She allowed us to stay at our house, which was great. So we was going back and forth from there to New Jersey. We was in Philadelphia, the heart of Philly, too. Shout out to Lawyer Boys Boxing Gym, home of the Grandy twins. Dad, Daniel Grandy, is doing a great job coaching them. So we inside there, and it's packed. And if you ever been to Philadelphia, Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. Rocky, they love boxing. There's a boxing gym on every corner. A lot of you not. We up in there, so it's starting to get, it's a small place, but it's starting to get packed because it was like a boxing show. They started off from, you know, Little Diesel, and they went to different weight classes. So it was getting packed. Somebody comes in and is like, what? Well, how'd she get in here? Y'all know who that is? And they was looking, and he pointed at Coach Peek. My man, Philadelphia Fast. Shout out Philadelphia Fast. Troublemakers in Philadelphia. Anybody know Fast? Man, he know he got great fighters. Hank Lundy, Greg Jackson, Mark Dawson, all those guys. Man, he comes in and says, y'all know who this is? She got nothing but killers. That's what she do, is train nothing but killers. And for him to say that, to come out, man, and he definitely certified. He definitely qualified, street certified, all that stuff. But him to say this to her, about her, that let everybody else know, like, she's just not a woman. She knows her stuff. She knows everything. She's not a coach. She is a teacher. And for you to be a teacher in this game, for you to get those hash marks, those stripes in this game, it takes a lot. It takes a whole lot. There's people that said that she would never make it. And when she made the Olympics, when she made the Olympic team, there were so many people trying to, and I'm just going to say this, there were so many people that was trying to kiss your ass, Coach, and you were humble. You were humble, Coach, because a lot of people, I would have been like, don't say nothing to me, get away from me. But as always, Coach, you treated like you always told us. You said, no, don't be nasty, be humble, be nice, even to people that you don't even particularly care for. You know, because it's going to come back. And that's why I think, and that's why I know you've always been blessed by God, because you went the rough route, but you earned it the right way. You came up the hard way. And nobody can never say that they gave you anything. You went out and took it, Coach.
Yeah, it's it was a long road. It was a hard road. And, but I was determined, and I knew this was my passion. This was where I was supposed to be. And I wasn't going to let anybody, take that away from me. And as I rose through the ranks, I really worked on becoming better and better and taking care of my athletes. That was the most important thing. Not me getting all the accolades and, people saying, how great I was. No, I'm only as good as my athletes. If my athletes are great, okay, then you can give me that praise, and that's great. I'll take it, but that's not my focus. My focus is on my athletes, and my athletes becoming great. And not everybody that I've coached or worked with or touched has turned to gold and been up there, but I've made a difference in their life, and I've helped them to go on and become, wonderful fathers, wonderful husbands, great leaders in the community. I mean, that's the most important thing to me. Yes, I strive for my athletes to become elite, even to become Olympians, but that's not the only thrust. That's not the only, important thing. What I'm trying to do now is give back to the community through the young men that I've raised and I've developed. Through them, I'll be able to really give back. And, they're carrying on my legacy. You, Steve, shot a gin at Rochester Fight Factory.
Shout out to
Yeah.
My man.
Yeah. I mean, Norris,
Yes.
He's not coaching boxing, but what he's doing in the community is just, it's amazing. It's what I've always wanted for you guys. And, so those are the things that are my success. I mean, I feel blessed. I feel fortunate to have, kids like you and Shot and Norris and some many of the other ones I've touched.
Well, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, Coach. Coach, I want to ask you a couple more questions before we conclude. Now, that was the boxing side, but on the coaching side, if you could take any coach that you've seen, growing up, that's influenced you, through your endeavors when it comes to boxing. Any coach that you can be mentored by, whether you can sit down and talk to them about anything and get some more game about boxing, who would that be? It could be professional coach, amateur coach, anybody. Any coach that you would like to be mentored by, or just sit down and talk with, have a couple hours and just pick their brains.
Wow. Let's see. I think one coach, and he would say, no, that I influenced him, Coach Yusef Shabazz, out of Atlanta. Sitting down, picking his brain, talking, because our conversations go beyond. I mean, it's all related to the boxing, but there's a spiritual aspect to it, about the mentoring and nurturing young people, and the way he is open and accepts so many, different types of young people, male, female. I mean, I sit with him and I can just talk with him for hours about the game, and pick his brain, and he knows a lot, and he would say to you, no, Coach is the one I'm learning from, but nah, I've learned a lot from him. Yes. Through things that he said that I may have either overlooked, or I said, oh, I never thought about it in that perspective, and like I say, he has a spiritualness about him that is very, very soothing, and it opens your mind to a whole lot of different things.
He is. He's a very humble brother, and I had the experience of interviewing him for your YouTube channel, and he's very humble, very humble. So humble where it's like, brother, you sure you want to be in the sport of boxing? But
Yeah.
then, yeah, you know,
But he's good at it. He's
yes,
a good coach, good at it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. That was great. Coach, is there a message that you want the world to know? Something that you like the world to know about you?
I guess the only thing I would want the world to know, I feel so blessed and fortunate, to have, so many kids, and I call you guys my kids because, I did help raise you, and, having touched so many kids' lives, people say to me, well, you don't have any kids of your own. And I said, that's not true. They said, well, how many kids do you have? I said, hold on a minute, let me count, let me see. Well, about 500 on this hand, maybe another 200 on this hand. They said, no, we're serious. I said, and I'm dead serious. I said, I have kids. And what they've given to me and what they continue to give to me is just simply a blessing. I can call up any of my kids anytime and they'll be here. Irregardless, they're gonna be here for me. I said, and when I watch them and see what I taught them being passed on, like with you and Diesel and what you're passing on, I love being around you guys because it's like that generation, just continuing to pass on the love of the sport. And what people don't understand about this sport has so much to offer everybody. It's one of the few sports that no matter what the size of the kid is, the height, the weight, they can come out a champion. They don't have to be a certain height, like for basketball, or a certain weight, like for football, or some of the other sports, certain sizes and stuff. I was able to take them all, short, fat, dumpy, whatever,
That's right.
And turn them into champions, turn them into, individuals that are contributing great things to their community and to the world.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I thank you for that. Coach, do you have anything planned in the future? Anything going on that you and my listeners, I just want to tell you, I really appreciate Coach Peek because she just got out of having a knee replacement. What was it, like 2 weeks ago, Coach? If that, a week and a half?
2 weeks ago, I think. No, it almost 2 weeks will be Monday.
Yeah. And now, mind you, this is her fourth one.
Yeah, it's a fourth knee surgery.
Knee surgery.
Third one on this one leg.
So I don't even know how she's doing it, but this is how, when it comes to this sport, she loves the sport so much. When I asked her, I said, no, you know what, Coach, maybe we can't do it. She said, no, let's do it. We're going to do this. She said, yes, we're going to do this because the show must go on. And she's always been that way. She loves the sport so much where it's like, I'm going to give all I can, And Coach, one thing I can say is that, man, they don't make people like you no more. They don't. They don't, Coach. They don't. So I appreciate this. I appreciate you for giving us the time here at Stokeshouse Boxing Academy for my podcast. One more thing I want to ask, Coach. Do you have any social media handles where people can get in contact if they want to find you, if they want to ask you questions? She does seminars. She does coaching. She does everything. She travels. So, blast it, Coach.
Yes, I have. If you go to Coach Gloria Peek, you can contact me and you can see what I'm doing on my Facebook page. That's also the same handle for my YouTube channel. And I also have an Instagram channel, and it's all under Coach Gloria Peek. So if you just type in Coach Gloria Peek, you'll be able to get, you know, a lot of information. And also I'm working on updating some more, putting some more information on there, you know, about what I'm doing and how I'm doing, because I'm still in the sport, still in the game, you know, and will probably be in this game until it's my time to leave here and take that boxing on up to the good Lord above.
That's right. That's right. You Peek. That's spelled P-E-E-K. Just let
Right.
everybody know, not P-E-A-K, P-E-E-K.
E-E-K. Right.
Yes. Yes. So, hey, Coach, I really appreciate your time. Those of you that continue to follow me, I really appreciate you. You can check this out on my YouTube channel, Stokeshouse Boxing Academy. Follow me as Stokes_boxing. That's Stokes, S-T-O-K-E-S _boxing on my Instagram. And it's going to be Stokeshouse Boxing Academy for my Facebook. But always remember, do what you need to do and stay ready so you ain't got to be worried about what? That's getting ready. Stay ready so you ain't worried about getting ready. I love you guys. Take care. Coach Stokes out.